Okay, so let's talk real quick about this Muslim-NATO alliance that I think is being formulated. So, as you guys know, a couple of weeks back, and this didn't hit the mainstream news, but Saudi Arabia met with Pakistan, and they forged an agreement. And basically what the agreement is that an attack on Saudi Arabia would be looked at as an attack on Pakistan. Why is this important? The reason why this is important is because Pakistan, guys, is a nuclear-armed superpower, okay? Just like a couple other countries. North Korea, Israel, United States, Russia, China, Pakistan, India. I think there's 9 nuclear-armed countries in the world, okay? Now, Pakistan has a nuclear arsenal, and the Saudis don't. And this is what I mean when I say that Israel creates problems for us. And it's crazy because this didn't hit the mainstream news. I covered on my thing and I didn't notice that many mainstream media outlets covering this. After Israel attacked Qatar, right? And Qatar is a wealthy Gulf state just like Saudi Arabia. Very similar. Lots of money, not too many resources outside of oil, trying to diversify, become more of an entertainment hub. Very similar to Saudi Arabia, very similar government, very similar political ideology, economics is set up, all this other shit. When Israel attacked Qatar, or Doha, trying to kill these Hamas leaders, it woke up and red-pilled the entire Gulf state, all the Gulf states. And it proved that just because the United States says they're gonna protect you, doesn't mean that they're gonna protect you from Israel. Okay? And obviously this put a lot of these guys in alert. They ended up convening the Arab League, figuring out what they're gonna do, etc. Are they gonna retaliate to Israel? They're not. Obviously Netanyahu apologized, and he probably diffused it quite a bit because, Qatar was posturing on Twitter and other platforms saying, oh yeah, we're gonna retaliate, we're not gonna take this, blah, blah, blah. Bunch of bullshit. But the point is that Israel's reckless foreign policy, right, and policy of shooting first and asking questions later, put the Gulf states in a state of turmoil. And what happened was, Saudi Arabia said, we're going to go ahead and take steps to protect ourselves right now. So they signed this deal with Pakistan, where if Saudi Arabia is attacked, that's like attacking Pakistan, and Pakistan is a nuclear-armed superpower. And the thing is, guys, is that if you don't have a nuclear weapon and you get into a conflict with a country that does have a nuclear weapon, well, that's not good for you because they have the ability to destroy you, but you might not necessarily have the ability to destroy them, okay? So this pact that Pakistan and Saudi Arabia put together has kind of been something in the making, right? So for those of you that don't know, for many years, Saudi Arabia has always had money, but they haven't had a strong military, and they've relied heavily upon the United States and the petrodollar to keep them safe. Back in the 1970s, Richard Nixon pretty much made this agreement with the royal family saying, look, we will guarantee your guys' security, right? But you guys need to do all your oil transactions on the US dollar. Why? Because if all the other countries that are getting oil have to do their deals in the US dollar when they deal with Saudi Arabia, well, that ensures that there's always a need for US dollars. And it keeps the currency strong and powerful. So as of a couple of, I think last year, the Saudis started to wean off a bit, where I think only about 80% of their transactions are done in the US dollar. And obviously this isn't good for us because, we're the reserve currency and we're propped up with the petrodollar. And what do? We printed almost 50% of our current dollars of circulation was printed during the COVID era. So that obviously isn't good for us. We eat too much is flying out there. And this is why we haven't had to really suffer from the extreme inflation, despite the fact that we have way too much goddamn currency out there. So when Israel attacked Qatar, it red-pilled the Saudis, and the Saudis said, okay, we need to look to a Muslim country that also has nuclear capabilities, just like the United States does, so that we can have another guarantor of our security. And that's exactly what they did with Pakistan. Pakistan is a very strong military, but they're weak economically and they don't have money like that. So the Saudis substantiate them financially, and in return, they get protection and training. Like a lot of the Saudi special forces are trained by the Pakistanis. And then the Pakistanis, I don't think they're a part of the nuclear proliferation treaty program, so they've been sanctioned before. And what happened was a couple of years back, this was decades ago, when Pakistan had their nuclear weapons, they wanted to test their nuclear weapons. So when they wanted to test their nuclear weapons, they called Saudi Arabia before they did this and said, look, we got nuclear weapons. We know that if we test them, we're going to get sanctioned. Can you guys hold us down while we're sanctioned? Saudi Arabian government said yes. And they tested their nuclear weapons. Everything was a success. Obviously, as expected, the international community sanctioned them, and they were able to kind of ride it out because the Saudi Arabians gave them financial resources and support and exchanged gas security. But now it's formalized. Now it's official. They're joined at the hip. If you attack Saudi Arabia, you basically attack Pakistan and vice versa. And what I see coming with this is Israel's reckless foreign policy has driven Muslim countries to rely more upon one another because now it's obvious that the United States is not willing to stand up against the Israelis. Okay? And to be honest with you guys, I've been telling you all this forever. The Israelis are the big boogeyman in the Middle East. Despite the fact that they sit there and they say, oh, now, we just want to survive. We have a right to exist. All of our neighbors attack us. We're waging a sever-front war because they want us gone. They want to destroy Israel. The reality is that The Israelis, number one, are a rogue nation. Number two, have nuclear weapons. Number three, have unlimited US backing. And then number four, no one can tell them shit. So obviously you can see here that this puts all these other Muslim countries in the region on notice. Because when they bombed Qatar, and Qatar, for you guys know, we have the biggest military base there. They're one of our biggest allies in the region. They allow us to have our biggest military base there. The fact that Israel attacked them shows you that we clearly can't control these. And that leads Gulf states to look for security elsewhere. Why is this a problem? Because now, Pakistan is more under the influence of China. Okay, Pakistan has a bunch of jets that they bought that they utilized against the Indians, actually, matter of fact. When they had that little skirmish, remember when India and Pakistan were having a little war? Pakistan brought out some of these Chinese jets that they had, which are very good. Iran is trying to buy them as well. But what we're doing is we're slowly pushing Saudi Arabia more into the China/Russia influence side, and that's not good for us, right? But this is what happens. We have stupid-ass Israelis doing the dumb shit that they do and hurting our influence in the region, especially after Trump went there in spring, if you guys remember, back in like April or May. Trump went out there to Qatar, struck a deal, got trillions of dollars of support. They gave him a jet and all this other stuff. And then what do these guys do? They circumvent his diplomacy and do the dumb shit that they're doing. So this is what we got going on with the Middle East and how I foresee that this could easily become a Muslim NATO. And that would create problems, not just for us, but it's also going to create problems for Israel. So Israel created the bombs once again by bombing Qatar. Because literally, like 2 weeks after they did that shit, Saudi Arabia and Pakistan formalized their agreement. And I didn't see anyone cover this on mainstream media extensively and why this is such a big deal. And you guys know with me, I told y'all, yo, this is not good. This is not good that Saudi Arabia is signing this deal with Pakistan because that means they're getting closer and closer to Chinese influence. And what do I tell y'all all the time? Who's the real enemy? China, bro. That is the real threat to American hegemony. Okay? It's not Iran. It's not these desert, okay, Muhammad and them. It's not, jihad and Muslim terrorism. China, bro. That is the biggest threat to American hegemony, man. I'm telling you. And the fact that we've been wasting all these decades, the past 3 to 4 decades in the Middle East, on some stupid shit, retarded. As a retarded.